What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in a building with another banger. Now, first things first, before we go ahead and get started today, I gotta say thank God for another day and another opportunity. Now, as y'all can see from the looks of the title and the screen, man, today I'm gonna be giving y'all a little bit of an insight of what my dream NBA 2K23 build is gonna be. Now, this is going to be a big man today. I will be sure to drop down every single position going into 2K24. But today, I'm going to be going after my dream center position. And when it comes down to 2K24, I am super excited. Crossplay is definitely confirmed, and that is a huge W in my books. Let me know what you think about crossplay as well down below in the comment section. Comment down a W and TG for thank God, as well as where you're tuning in from. And I most definitely will be sure to get back to y'all with a response. But before we get any further into this video, and if it's your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new, smash that like button, turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family, and last but definitely not least, go ahead and thank God for another day as well and another opportunity. But as you can see from the gameplay of this build, you can easily already see why this has been my favorite center position all throughout the year. It actually will come out to a rim protector. I did put this build out a few different times this year, just to go ahead and show y'all exactly what I've been using. And especially when it comes down to this build all around, I think it's going to hit on all four factors when it comes down, all the way up top to the finishing, shooting, playmaking, and the defensive end, and the physicals cannot get much better for a 7-2 build. Now, for those of you who have already seen what this build comes out to be, thank y'all for the support back then. I'm going to go ahead and put y'all on game once again. Now, with this build, there are no weaknesses, and I do not take that lightly. Now, as far as when it comes down to the finishing, let me go ahead and tell you, for this build, you're definitely going to be able to get pro contact dunks as well as the big man elite contact dunks. Now, that's going to be very special for this build that we get both set of animations unlocked. And as far as when it comes down to the shooting, the sharpshooting takeover will be able to get equipped as well. And then when it comes down to this build as a whole, you're definitely going to be able to be a threat from outside. Now, when it comes down to the playmaking, one of my favorite things about all 2Ks is that if you really find your patience when it comes down to dribble moves, you can use just about any animation to combo up and make sure that you're moving just as smooth as anybody else around the court. So with the playmaking on this build, I'm telling y'all, the pass accuracy is going to be the main factor, but we're still going to be able to ISO, which you will see from the gameplay, and that is honestly taking this build to the next level when it comes down to elite. Now, as far as for the defensive end, this build really cannot get much better if you're looking for an anchor on the defensive side of the ball. This build's going to be able to do everything from play perimeter and interior defense. But as far as when it comes down to our steal and block, I don't think you're going to struggle on the passing lanes when getting steals. And protecting on the inside, this build comes out to a rim protector build. So especially with that takeover being taken into consideration, you're going to be a huge interior threat. Now, as far as when it comes down to the rebounding on this build, this is going to be one of the best heights for that, especially with the fact that we are 7-2. We're going to have the potential to get a 99 plus offensive and defensive rebound. Now look, before we get any further, I just want to say, you're really in store for a great build. So let's go ahead and get started by first putting this build under the center position. Now you can go ahead and try to create a power forward that's going to match the abilities of this build. But as far as when it comes down to our lane, this build is going to blow any other archetype out of the water. Now, when it comes down to the animations, the body settings are going to play a huge factor with that. So go with the height of 7'2". As for the weight, I'm going to put this down to 232. And then ending it off with the wingspan, I'm going to put this to 8 feet exactly to get the most out of our shooting, but also not take us too far away when it comes down to getting playmaking abilities. So as far as when it comes down to the body shape, I really like builds, but you can even go with defined or solid. If you want to look more like Victor Wembanyama, I would definitely go ahead and pick slight. Now moving forward, let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of these attributes. Now, as always, I'm directly going to the physicals, so when it comes down to the speed, put this to a 62. As for the acceleration, I'm going to leave this at a 47. Now, moving on to the strength, I'm going to go with an 80. And then as for when it comes down to the vertical, I'm going to put this up to a 76. Now, as for when it comes down to our stamina, go ahead and put this up to an 88. And right there, take into consideration the +4 that you're going to be getting from the gym rat boost. So look, these numbers are going to read a 92 when it comes down to our stamina, 80 when it comes down to the vertical, 84 strength. As for when it comes down to the acceleration, this is going to be in the 50s with a 66 speed. Now look, this is really just to start with this build, but considering the fact that we're 7-2, I think we have everything and more that we can need out of this area. So from here, I really want to go ahead and get started to when it comes down to the finishing. So as far as when it comes down to the build on the close shot, I'm going to go ahead and put this all the way up to a 76. Now if you want to, these numbers will be adjustable as any other build that I bring to you, but if you want the best version, I definitely recommend that you follow along. Now moving on to the driving layup, I'm going to go ahead and put this to exactly a 60, and then as for that driving dunk, I'm going to put this to an 80 as well. Now to finish it off with the standing dunk, go with an 82, and this is going to be the perfect threshold to move forward on this build. Go ahead and make sure that you have at least 15 finishing badges, and look, we get acrobat, badges like fearless finisher. I like limitless takeoff on tier 1, but then we also get slithery. And then for tier 2, we're still going to be able to equip posterizer and possibly even aerial wizard with back down punisher. Now if you go the extra route to core one of the tier 3 badges, that's definitely useful, just something that I did want to throw out to y'all. But from here, let's go ahead and see how effective we're going to be on the shooting end and outside. So go ahead and put that mid-range shot up to a 63. Now I'm primarily not focused on this area, but as for the 3-pointer, I'm going to go with the 78, and right there we get a total of 12 badges. Now for the free throw, to be able to be comfortable in any game mode, I'm going to go with the 71. And for the 12 badges, I like Agent 3. We also get amped with Midi Magician. Space Creator on gold is going to be a key badge. And then for tier 2, we get Green Machine, Guard Up, Blinders, and then Claymore. Now if you add 4 or anywhere at least to 3 extra badges to this area, we're going to be able to definitely get limitless range at least on the bronze tier. Now that's just something that I did want to throw out to y'all, so that way you could take it into consideration when making this build. But I think especially with the sharpshooting takeover, you're going to be able to do some damage and not even have to worry about that badge. Now from here, I'm going to move on to the defensive end and save the playmaking for last. So go ahead and put the interior defense up to an 86. As for when it comes down to the perimeter, I'm going to go with the 64. As for that steal, I'm going to go with the 63. Go ahead and max out our defensive rebound to a 99. Go with the 93 when it comes down to our block. And then as for when it comes down to that offensive rebound, I'm going to put this to an 89. Now this is what the build is going to be looking like on the defensive end. Super overpowered and really effective, especially on the interior. But I think we're definitely useful, especially outside on the perimeter, because a lot of center builds are not going to be upgrading the perimeter defense or that steal. So look, with these 30 badges, we get Challenger, Glove, and Interceptor. I also like Workhorse. Box Out Beast is definitely useful. Then we get Chased on Artist with Post Lockdown. And then to wrap it up for tier 3, I like Anchor, Pogo Stick definitely, but most importantly is going to be Hall of Fame Rebound Chaser. Now this build so far, I'm telling y'all, hits on all key areas if you're looking to make a complete center build. Now let's go ahead and wrap up the playmaking end. So when it comes down to our pass accuracy, this is really optional to how you want to go about it, but I decided to put this all the way up to a 76. Now when it comes down to this build, you need to make sure of a few different things. So as you can see right here, I did make one tick go up to our driving layup from upgrading other areas. That may be possible with other areas, like when it comes down to the shooting, possibly even the playmaking. But once you go ahead and put one tick up on the pass accuracy right here, we're going to be able to reach a total of 11 badges. And look, we get Clamp Breaker still at the height of 7'2", Mismatch Expert. I like Special Delivery, but then we also get Vice Grip with Break Starter. Now once you max this build out completely to 99 overall, I think it's going to be one of the best dominant centers that you can take into any game mode. Now as you can see from the gameplay, some of this was 75 and below overall, and on top of all that, this build is not even maxed out in the gameplay that you were seeing. So I just wanted to make sure that you know that before you make this build. And as far as when it comes down to our takeovers, we get the sharpshooting, rim protecting, and then the glass cleaning. Now however you decide to go about it, base it off of your own playstyle. For me, I'm going to go with first limitless range, and the second one, it's going to come down to paint intimidation and see the future takeover. I would say that See the Future is going to be a little bit more useful, but honestly, Paint Intimidation you cannot go wrong with. Really comes down to your own preference of playstyle, but let's go ahead and move forward with this build to make sure that we made it correctly. And if you followed every single step, we should be getting these 3 comparisons. And as y'all can see, we have created my NBA 2K24 Dream Build, which today comes out to a defensive anchor, and you will get a few different build names depending on how you go about the build creation and which adjustments you make. You may get a rim protector, defensive anchor, interior force. You have a few different options to pick from depending on the adjustments. Now from here, I really want y'all to take a look at this. Now look, we get a boost from playing well in each game, which is a +4 to 5. The additional +4 that you get from buying your own boost. Now when our takeovers are activated, that's a +10 towards 2 separate areas. And if you run with a teammate that has on Hall of Fame floor general, that's going to be another +4. So with this build, everything added up, we have the potential to get at least a +20 when it comes down to our attributes. And that is not even including the gear boost that we get as well. Now back to more gameplay. Let me know down below in the comments, what did you think of today's build? Did you go ahead and recreate this one? And what are you looking to make in NBA 2K24? Now look, I really just want to say thank y'all to those of you who are continuously supporting. More so than anything, thank God for another day and another opportunity. And before we get out of here, if it was your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Smash that like button. Turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family. And last but definitely not least, comment down TG for thank God and where you're tuning in from. And I most definitely will be sure to get back to y'all with the response. And with all that being said though, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.